Welcome everyone, I'm Kingway Valence, and thanks for watching this Spore Galactic Adventure speedrun. Today, we are ranking up our captain to the highest level possible, level 10. Each time we complete a Galactic Adventure in Spore, we are awarded a certain number of Spore points for our captain. And each time we get enough points to reach the next level, we also unlock one piece of captain gear to choose from. Most of this equipment are upgrades to our base creature stage abilities, including more powerful weapons, social abilities, health, and mobility upgrades. This captain gear can also be useful if our creature never got wings during creature stage, for example, because now we can put on a jetpack if we choose to unlock it. However, playing casually, this upgrade system can be very tedious, as Maxis made reaching level 10 require a lot of captain points. And while there are some adventures built into the game, just these adventures alone won't get us anywhere near the number of points we need to reach level 10. Maxis expects us to download and play user-made creations to rank up our captain. So for this speedrun, we will need to download additional adventures, but since not everyone has a Spore account to download more adventures, I will make this Galaxy file available for download in the description with all the adventures pre-installed. This way, anyone wanting to give this speedrun a try can play all these downloaded adventures shown in this video without needing a Spore account. To reach level 10 requires a total of 4,375 captain points, and this first speedrun will play through 52 adventures to reach this total. There are 16 adventures that come when installing the game. However, adventures like the Bahaha 500 have a set captain, so the points awarded for completing this adventure can't be applied to our captain trying to reach level 10. So only these 10 built-in adventures will be included in the speedrun. Next, we can include the other Maxis DLC adventures, including the funny Clark and Stanley adventures, which brings us up to 35 adventures that allows us to bring in our own custom captains. Each Maxis adventure is worth 100 points. But this still only gets us to 3,500 points, leaving us with 875 points to go. From here, we will have to rely on user-made adventures from the online Sporepedia. However, user-made adventures are no longer worth a guaranteed 100 points. How many points a user-made adventure is worth is determined by a few factors. For example, when we make and save an adventure locally, it will only be worth 10 points. But when the adventure gets uploaded, it will then be worth 15 points by default. Then, based on the number of plays the adventure gets and its difficulty, we'll increase or decrease the number of points the adventure is worth. If the adventure is too easy, the points will get lowered by the Spore servers down to a minimum of 5 points. But if the adventure is more difficult, seen by players failing the adventure, by either dying or needing to reset, then the points will increase to a maximum of 100 points. However, if a user-made adventure is actually worth 100 points, that probably means it's actually impossible to complete. A 99-point adventure is one that's extremely difficult, but a few players have actually passed it. But for this speedrun, we need custom adventures that are both fast and worth a lot of points. However, very importantly, the points for custom adventures can no longer change anymore. From 2009 to around 2013, the points did change, but for some reason the servers introduced the zero plays bug, where the servers no longer track the number of plays an adventure gets anymore. And without additional plays, the points can no longer be updated. This means any new adventure uploaded is stuck at 15 points. So the adventures we can choose from that have more than 15 points can only be from this 4 to 5 year window. This kinda works out for the speedrun, as it makes all the adventure points stable, so the math always works out, but really sucks for literally everyone else who would like to see their adventures be worth more points and have their total plays be tracked. Maybe one day the Spore servers can fix this. However, knowing that every adventure's points won't change, we need to find the fastest adventures worth the greatest number of points. For example, if we make a custom adventure that has no objective, we can actually just use the emergency beam out, and that completes the adventure right away. While this is really fast, this will only be worth 15 points for this instantly completable adventure. So let's see if we can get something better. And after a few hours of research, I was able to find a few creators that totally gamed the point system back in the 2009 to 2013 era that is perfect for our purposes today. I found a few adventures called Easy Points that had me intrigued. Remember, an adventure is worth more points based on its number of plays, but most importantly, on its perceived difficulty to the servers. When loading this adventure called Easy Points, the loading screen says for us to allow ourselves to die a bunch of times before completing the adventure, as this will keep the points up. Let's see what this adventure is. And we're dead. Reset, and we're dead again. The adventure is lasering us as fast as possible, but this is actually an adventure with no objective. So as soon as we load the adventure, pause immediately, select the emergency beam out, and we're done. That completes the entire adventure, worth a whopping 69 points. Nice! This cheese is going to come in very handy for the speedrun today. There are actually a bunch of adventures just like this. This adventure called Beam Up works the exact same way and is worth another 70 points. And my other favorite cheesy adventure type is the Meteor Shower adventures. These adventures want us to survive a bunch of meteors coming down to crush us for a certain amount of time. This is just like the Clark and Stanley Go Stargazing adventure. However, a possible oversight by the creators of these adventures is this timer is technically not an objective, so we can just beam straight out of this one as well for another 68 points for free. This first speedrun uses as many of these instant or near instantly completable adventures as I could find, but just these on their own wasn't quite enough to reach level 10 along with the rest of the 35 Maxis adventures. We came just a bit short on points, so to finish off the point total, we use one of Parkaboy's famous adventures, the Spore Olympics Bomb Stroke. This is a fun obstacle race course, but we have to stay within the boundaries or we explode. After 6 laps in about 3.5 minutes, we get an additional 90 points. And that will get us just over our total of 4,375 points for level 10. During the speedrun, once we had done all the easy ones, we completed the rest of them in alphabetical order so I didn't lose track. So we get to end with the absolute masterpiece that is Winnie and his poo. Yes, that is the actual name, and yes, it is actually about poo. Some of these Maxis adventures are quite strange, but hey, 100 points is 100 points. And finally, reaching the end and selecting our 10th captain gear, we return to the quick play menu and the My First Captain achievement appears, raising a captain to rank 10 in 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 42 seconds, for what I believe may have been the first ever speedrun to get to level 10, a world first world record. But this was just day 1 of the speedrun. At the time, I was just looking for enough points from custom adventures to reach level 10 after completing all the Maxis ones. But from here, I did additional research to try to find any more fast, high-point adventures to try and replace the slower Maxis ones. All of the Maxis adventures are worth 100 points, but the time to complete them vary a lot. The Clark and Stanleys just take a few seconds, but some adventures like the Temple of Spode and the Meaningless Turtle take a few minutes, so we need to optimize our points to time ratio per adventure. And I found some more user-made instantly completable adventures worth decent points, and some others that were pretty fast with a bit of practice. But there are probably more adventures that are out there that would work for this speedrun that I haven't found yet. So if you know of any candidates that would be a good fit for this speedrun, let me know in the comments. For comparison, if we made an instantly completable adventure worth 15 points, it would take me around 20 seconds to fully complete, including navigating the menu to select the adventure, finishing up the end screen, and returning to the quick play menu. This gives us a 0.75 points to time ratio. We want to maximize this ratio so we're earning the most points possible during the speedrun. I ran every adventure I already had downloaded 3 times to get an average completion time, including all the menuing for a fair comparison. And the worst points to time ratio for the Maxis adventures is Robots vs. Dragons. This adventure is still worth 100 points, but takes me around 3 minutes to complete, for a 0.54 points to time ratio. This is worse than if we had just made a bunch of those 15-point instantly completable adventures ourselves. So Robots vs. Dragons will have to go. I made an entire Excel sheet for all of the adventures like this. And the best adventure was Clark and Stanley Go Camping with a great 4 points to time ratio. We need more adventures like that. So after calculating the most efficient adventures with the new ones I found, we were able to drop Bomb Stroke and 5 other Maxis adventures that were too slow. In the new route, we now have 58 adventures that we need to complete to reach the 4,375 captain points. This second run will save a lot of time by doing the more efficient adventures, but I also started the run by doing the least reliable adventures first. Before we were just doing them in alphabetical order for our first run, but some adventures are a bit more RNG than others. For example, the Spirits Are Restless adventure needs us to take this staff from this guy. However, it just seems to be random when our captain will take the staff and can cost us a lot of time. But by doing this adventure first, if we get a slow grab, we can reset right away. Once we get all the inconsistent adventures we can out of the way, we'll then do all of the easy user-made adventures to get us our captain points and unlock us our captain gear. A lot of the adventures benefited from the sprint burst equipment, as this piece recharges our sprint a lot faster than it would normally, allowing us to sprint more often. Sprinting now takes captain energy with the sprint burst, so we'll need to balance using extra sprint when needing energy for weapons. But most heavy combat adventures are just fine with regular creature stage sprint, so we can remove the sprint burst when doing the combat-focused adventures at the end. And finally, ending with the TX 5000 adventure, we need to sneak around and free everyone to destroy the large structure in the middle. Finishing the adventure, selecting our 10th captain gear, and time will end when we return to the quick play menu, getting a level 10 captain from scratch in less than an hour. I think this is a pretty good time. I never expected it to be possible to reach level 10 this quickly. This had always taken hours to level up a captain. But we're not done yet. These speedruns started with a brand new captain with no captain gear, and we had to put the equipment on as we go. However, in my Galactic Adventures glitches video, we saw it was possible to get a brand new starting captain, still with 0 captain points, but with captain gear already equipped. That video is linked in the description for the full explanation of this trick, but the process isn't actually too difficult. So it made sense to do a second run as a separate category with this captain, as it's still brand new at level 0 with no captain points, but already with captain parts ready to go. This can save a bunch of time getting to level 10 and unlocking the achievement. There's a lot of time to save since we don't have to spend time putting on the captain gear between adventures, and because we can have as many captain parts on as we want. This allows us to do a slightly different route because of the extra starting gear. For example, we can return to the bomb stroke adventure as it's much faster with this captain. This adventure has an exploit that can save us around 2 minutes if we have the jump jet part. Since we are in the water, we normally can't jump out or fly away with our normal creature stage wings. However, the jump jet can actually get us out of the water. This adventure has high walls to make sure we can't escape. However, it doesn't have a ceiling. And this adventure only needs us to reach the teleporter at the end of the course for a lap to count, so we can just fly right over the top. Complete our 6 laps in only 1.5 minutes this time, saving 2 minutes over doing the course normally. And that raises its points to time ratio a lot, for another 90 points for our captain. From here, complete the rest of the adventures again, except doing bomb stroke means we can drop 2 other more inefficient adventures as well. So this run only needs 57 adventures to reach level 10. The order we play the rest of the adventures in is less important after doing the more RNG ones first, since we have all the captain gear we need from the start. And reaching the final adventure again, and returning to the quick play menu, we get the My First Captain achievement again. And this run beats our no starting gear captain by a couple minutes, for another world first world record for this category as well. All these full runs are linked in the description and include live commentary if you'd like to check them out. Let me know what you thought of these speedruns, and if you'd like to see any other Galactic Adventure speedruns in the future. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Kingly Valence, and I'll see you next time.